Tonight, COVID-19 claims another life in Montana.
Leaders of the Treasure State's hardest hit facility are speaking out.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Thanks for making MTN a part of your night. I'm Keely Van Bittendorf.
And I'm Tim McGonigal. Montana has seen its 40th death from COVID-19. The latest victim is associated with a Billings long-term care facility.
There are now 13 deaths in 15 days associated with Canyon Creek Memory Care, the deadliest COVID-19 outbreak in Montana. Just yesterday, employees with Kelsch Communities, the company that owns Canyon Creek, traveled to Billings from Washington State for what they called a day focused on the residents and employees. County health officials say the latest victim, a woman in her 90s, passed away at Canyon Creek yesterday. And tonight, for the first time, we're hearing from leaders of Canyon Creek Memory Care Facility. The outbreak there happened after the facility refused voluntary testing from the state of Montana.
As MTN's Andrea Lutz reports, officials with Canyon Creek Memory Care Facility say those voluntary tests would have only provided a snapshot of results for a small moment in time.
Traveling to Billings from Washington State for the first time since COVID-19 appeared in their facility, leaders of Kelsch Communities say their primary focus is on residents and staff.
It's been a busy time and they come first. We have to make sure that we're taking care of them.
Chief Operating Officer Eva Arendt says that's why officials haven't addressed questions publicly yet regarding why voluntary testing was initially refused.
So we opted out, as did, I believe, 100 other communities in the state of Montana.
Kelsch, a family-owned business out of Olympia, Washington, operates over 30 facilities in 8 states. During a Zoom call the day after leaders, including the company's CEO, left Billings, they say they stand by their decision to opt out, but did promptly take measures to ensure there was no cross-contamination when the virus was initially discovered.
All it would do is give us a picture of those results for that moment in time. Residents could be exposed or staff could be exposed the very next day and test positive later in the week.
But Arendt says they want the public to know administering a COVID test to a dementia patient is complex.
The deep nasal swab test is invasive, and to a person who does not understand what is happening, it can be very scary for them.
The outbreak started with a resident who tested positive at the hospital on June 30th. The state offered its free testing in mid-June.
We have put in place policies and procedures that we feel have protected our residents well. I mean, it is June 30th when Canyon Creek had their unfortunate outbreak. And though we've been in the throes of a pandemic since late February.
Currently, 43 of its residents have tested positive with COVID-19. 2 are currently negative, while a dozen have died. Reporting in Billings, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
We do want to point out that there is currently no federal testing requirements and the rules apply differently in every state. Those with Canyon Creek say more testing is happening now. With one round already done, another round of COVID testing is on the way.
And tonight we hear from the daughter of a Canyon Creek patient who recovered from COVID-19 about her experience with the facility's staff. This is 91-year-old Janet Jordan, who's been living in Canyon Creek since April 2019. Janet's daughter Karen said her mother contracted COVID-19 about 3 weeks ago after coming back to Canyon Creek following hip surgery. Karen said Canyon Creek staff kept her well informed about the situation in the facility, receiving around 10 emails from staff after the first positive case. Staff provided many opportunities for the family to call and even video chat with their mother while visitation was restricted.
I can't stress enough how caring the staff has been, how well the staff has taken care of her and how loving and compassionate they've been. And that is very humbling to us as a family, that there is a place where our mom can be, where we feel that she's well cared for and loved. That's priceless to us.
And Karen said her mother didn't experience many symptoms other than feeling more run down than usual. She didn't need to be put on oxygen or a ventilator while fighting COVID-19.
Organizers of the Helena Farmers Market say they will still put on the weekly event even after they did not receive a permit to do so. Last week, the Farmers Market's coronavirus mitigation plan was rejected by the Lewis and Clark County Public Health. The market board chose to proceed without the permit, blocking Fuller Street during its normal operating hours on Saturday. Helena police took note of the violations and submitted them to Helena City and Lewis and Clark County attorneys, but took no action to shut down the market, saying that they're first focusing on education rather than enforcement.
So it's the carrot and not the stick in this. And at the end of this, I don't think anybody in Helena, in the government, or in public health or anything wants to go to the enforcement part of this.
According to the Helena Farmers Market Board President Wayne O'Brien, he has not been notified of any charges or citations being issued, and said in the Farmers Market's board's opinion, the changes they're being asked to make by the County Health Department are impossible. He did say he received an email from Lewis and Clark Public Health stating that if they did continue to run the market, sanctions would be put in place.
And here at home, Cascade County District Judge Greg Pinsky submitted his letter of resignation to Montana Supreme Court today. Voters elected Pinsky to serve as district judge in 2012 and again in 2018. In a time where racial injustice is in the spotlight following the death of George Floyd, Pinsky told MTN News he's proud of the ways he's fought for equality here at home. He says one of his biggest accomplishments is the creation of the Veterans Treatment Court. He's also been able to help officials in 26 states establish programs of their own. Pinsky says his fight for justice isn't over. He plans to open a veterans law clinic to help individuals in their fight for truth.
There are so many veterans that are facing issues that have become barriers for them in reintegrating back into the community. And I know that in this new role that I'm taking on, I'll be able to really be a part of being an advocate for those needs.
And Pinsky's last day on the bench is October 2nd. Judge Kutzman will take on the responsibilities related to the drug and veterans treatment courts.
Well, July is usually the beginning of fire season in Montana, but we've already seen a number of fires this year. Officials are predicting that fire conditions could be more common this season. One factor that can contribute to a more extreme fire season is what's called fuel load. The longer and heavier rains the state sees earlier in the year, the more the plants and the grass will grow. And as those plants and grasses dry out as we head into late July, the more ideal the conditions are for fires. There are some things that you can be doing to help stop fires from starting, especially this time of year. It's important to keep an eye on fire danger reports and red flag warnings.
Never pull off the side of the road with a vehicle that's been ran, especially in the high grass or unmowed or unkempt areas. If you do happen to go camping, make sure you're following fire alert and whether or not burning is allowed. Always extinguish fires with the proper procedure. If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to walk away from.
Disaster and Emergency Services asks that you monitor their website and Facebook page to stay up to date on current fire conditions. Well, we're expecting another toasty day tomorrow. Our Storm Tracker weather team is here to tell us more. Grant Garland joins us now. Grant, how hot are we talking?
All right, well, we are going to be looking at temperatures ranging from the low 90s to 102 degrees tomorrow. Very, very warm day. Dangerous heat also. So please make sure if you are having to be outside tomorrow, you're going to do so with caution. Drink lots of water. Also take plenty of breaks. For the Electric City, we're looking at 95-degree temperatures, 93 in Helena, 97 up towards Havre and Glasgow. Now, currently we are looking at temperatures not so warm. It actually feels kind of great outside right now. 68 degrees in Great Falls, 74 in Helena, 71 in Havre, and 69 in Cut Bank. And even though our winds aren't whipping right now, well, earlier they were. We saw 25-mile-per-hour wind gusts in Helena and 20 in Great Falls. Over the last 3 hours, we have been looking at a few clouds rolling through Glasgow into Jordan. Other than that, looking at mostly clear skies, and that's exactly what we're going to expect tonight. Temperatures falling down to right around 57 degrees for the Electric City, with east-northeast winds right around 10 miles an hour. And for our friends in Helena, right around 59 degrees with clear skies and light and variable winds. Overall, 56 in Choteau, 55 in Cut Bank, 60 in Hayes, and 54 in Lewistown. We will get some relief from the heat on Thursday, but it's going to come at a cost. We'll talk about all that and more, but for now, back to you.
All right, thanks, Grant. The Governor's Grizzly Bear Advisory Council is close to wrapping up their final recommendations for bear management and conservation in Montana. Earlier today, the big topics addressed included where the bears should be living in Montana and the role of hunting regarding grizzlies. A consensus on hunting was not reached by council members, but they do agree that there needs to be more education and outreach regarding grizzlies and also help for landowners to prevent bear conflicts.
It is clear to everyone in the world, or at least in Montana, that more education, outreach, and prevention is absolutely necessary in order for us to be able to live with bears and for bears to be able to live with us.
The advisory committee is expected to make their final recommendations at next month's meeting.
Well, owners of a Great Falls business have gotten creative with pub plans during the pandemic. Kellergeist Pub Theater co-owner Jolene Schalper says their indoor bar seats around 15 patrons at a time. They wanted to find a way for customers to enjoy their unique atmosphere while adhering to CDC guidelines. City officials approved the idea for an outdoor seating area that extends over several parking spots. The Germany-themed canopies will be up through early November, weather permitting. Schalper says they've seen a great response so far as patrons come out to socialize in a safe way.
We want to make sure that our customers and staff, everybody's comfortable, the fresh air is fantastic, and so it was all pandemic focused.
Kellergeist Pub Theater is open Wednesdays through Saturdays from 4 p.m. to 11:30. They will also be hosting an outdoor beer garden and barbecue at Broadwater Bay from 4 p.m. to sunset this Saturday. They plan to continue that beer garden each Friday in August and are looking for food trucks to join the event. Well, coming up next on the 10 o'clock news, an unlikely pairing is helping Montanans stay safe.
That story in our rebound report after the break.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 10 o'clock news.
And welcome back. Well, a Big Fork skincare company and distillery team up to give back to their community during the coronavirus pandemic.
MTN's Mara Sue tells us how they create hand sanitizer to help in this rebound report.
We found a need in the community for sanitizer, so we joined up with Whistling Andy and started a business, I believe, in less than a week. And we had the bottles and the labels, and they had the facility and the alcohol, and it was a perfect match.
Michael Johnson is the co-owner of the Good Stuff Botanicals, an organic skin company in Big Fork. He says coronavirus took a toll on their retail sales in March, so he teamed up with Whistling Andy Distillery, creating a hand sanitizer. Johnson says what sets this sanitizer apart from others is that it's a spray bottle.
It'll last longer than like the gels and whatnot that you're going to find on the shelves in most of the stores.
Gabe Spencer is the head distiller at Whistling Andy Distillery and says exactly what this product is made of.
We use ethanol alcohol, which is basically the base for our gins, our vodka, our whiskey. So we essentially will mill grain, we'll cook and ferment the grain here on site, and then we distill it to 190 proof. So essentially we're making a high proof spirit, a vodka, a neutral spirit.
He says it's all within government guidelines.
Based on the World Health Organization and FDA formula, we add all the other ingredients with the ethyl alcohol, the peroxide, the glycerol, and the boiling water.
Spencer says he applied for an innovation grant and received $5,000, all of which goes towards making this hand sanitizer.
That money comes from the CARES Act through the Coronavirus Relief Fund. If selected, businesses can get up to $10,000. Both Johnson and Spencer say it means the world to them to give back.
Donating it to different police departments, donating it to different hospitals in the Montana, it's an awesome feeling. There wasn't a day that, we thought we would be, making a product that a hospital would be using.
Spencer says he'll continue making and selling the hand sanitizer until the end of 2020. In Big Fork, Martin Sue, MTN News.
And for your rebound recap, innovation grants are available through the Coronavirus Relief Fund. Recipients of the grants can receive up to $10,000. For more information, you can visit our website.
Well, as many stores struggle to keep masks in stock, one Great Falls woman has got you covered. Linda Brambley says she turned to helping others after losing her job in January. Since the start of the pandemic, she's been making masks for those who can't afford their own here at home and in states with mask shortages. Brambley says she's glad to help out and put others' needs before her own.
A lot of people aren't working right now and they don't have the money, so they really can't afford to be going out and buying masks. So, why not help out? be the solution.
She's like, you know, people keep telling me charge for them, but Linda doesn't do that. She's like, you need it, here it is.
And Brambley is currently making masks by hand as she doesn't have a working sewing machine. If you'd like to receive one of her masks or help her purchase a sewing machine, you can reach out to her on our websites.
Well, starting off tomorrow, temperatures for Great Falls 60 degrees at 7 a.m., 4 p.m. 93. And then for our friends in Helena, temperatures starting off around 61 degrees by 1 p.m. 88. Don't go away, your 7-day forecast is coming up next.
Storm Tracker weather starts now with Grant Garland.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you have had a great Tuesday. We are one day closer to Friday, and tomorrow, usually Wednesdays are pretty good, at least for me. I hope they are for you. Today's high did get up to around 89 degrees in the Electric City. A lot warmer, though, down towards Helena at 93 degrees, 87 in Lewistown, out towards Glasgow around 85. Now, what we typically see is around 85-degree temperatures for us here in Great Falls. The record was set back in 1931, though, when it was 103 degrees. Also, that was the year that Dracula with Bela Lugosi came out. Take a look at this view. Doesn't it look great outside? And it feels good too. Temperature 68 degrees in Great Falls, 74 in Lewistown, a little bit warmer up in Havre at 71 degrees, out towards Glasgow 69, and still looking at 78-degree temperatures for those in Jordan. Bless you. However, we did have a little bit of a windy day today. Not as windy as we typically can get, but still a few numbers on the board. 20 in Great Falls, 25 in Helena, 17 in Glasgow. Now, over the last 3 hours, we have been looking at a few high-level clouds that have been making their way off towards Glasgow through the high line all throughout the afternoon, and we've been looking at mostly clear skies, and that's going to be a continuing trend as we head throughout the night. And it's all thanks to this high pressure that has really situated itself over southwestern part of Montana, and it's going to continue to stay there really for the next several hours into tomorrow, even in the afternoon. Now this will allow for us to not only heat up, but it's going to allow for winds out of the southwest to bring in that warm air to allow us to heat up. But then we also have our next weather maker off towards west, low pressure with cold front. And as we go throughout the day on Thursday, this is when we're going to start to see the effects. Clouds are going to start building in. Now, the high pressure is still going to stay there. It's stubborn. It's not going to want to move, and you'll see what I'm talking about. As we go throughout the afternoon on Thursday, I had to make this transparent so that way you can see the showers and thunderstorms that are going to be making their way up from the south as we have this cold front really kind of stay stationary, all thanks to this high pressure. But here we go. Right around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, that's when we're going to start to see showers and thunderstorms make their way into Helena. By around 6 p.m., we could look at those heavy downpours pushing into Great Falls. Notice Glasgow hasn't seen anything just yet. By around 9:30 p.m., this is where we're going to see that line make its way up towards the high line. That's when we could be looking at a few showers heading up towards Glasgow. And I want to go ahead and say that we could be looking at some isolated severe thunderstorms. That's why the National Weather Service and the Storm Prediction Center have worked together. The SPC, they have put out this map that says, we could be looking at isolated severe thunderstorms for those in Glasgow as well as Scobie and Helena on down towards Butte. But for Great Falls, Havre, and Lewistown, we should be just looking at regular thunderstorms. Damaging wind gusts to 50 miles an hour, small-sized hail around pea size, and frequent lightning. Well, that is all possible with the thunderstorms. By 4:30 in the afternoon, possibly a 1/10 of an inch of rain for our friends down in Helena. By 6:30, getting over 3/10 of an inch of rain, over 3/10 here in Great Falls, and throughout the night, that's when we are going to be looking at possibly getting an inch of rain, a half an inch of rain. I think we're going to be staying a little on the left side of that, though. 86 on Thursday, possible strong thunderstorms. Friday, 86. Saturday, 84, 85 on Saturday. And for our friends in Helena, we're going to be looking at really the same situation. Just stay weather aware on Thursday.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 10 o'clock news.
And welcome back. Well, Montana is not known as a hockey hotbed, but one Great Falls native is making her mark at the highest levels. After a professional playing career and 3 years as an assistant coach at Penn State, Celeste Brown was recently named the head women's hockey coach at her alma mater, the Rochester Institute of Technology in New York. Brown has taken a non-traditional path to the NCAA Division I level, and at just 28 years old, she's ready for the challenge.
You always aspire to be a head coach, and in my mind, I was full go once I got into coaching. It was like when you're trying to get to the peak of your profession, it's like, which is the next step that's going to make me better at what I do, and this was it.
And Brown had a successful 4-year career at RIT, which included scoring the game-winning goal in the 2012 National Championship as a freshman.
Well, the Frontier Conference plans to move forward with a football season this fall, even though 3 of its out-of-state schools announced that they would wait until spring to play. MTN's Isaiah Dunk caught up with MSU Northern head coach Andrew Rowland to see how that will affect the Lights.
There's no doubt COVID-19 has made planning for college sports difficult. For instance, in June, the Frontier Conference had approved an 8-game conference-only schedule for football. Then late last week, College of Idaho, Eastern Oregon, and Southern Oregon announced they would push their football seasons to the spring. So the conference's 5 Montana schools have to figure it out again. But the constant change doesn't mean the approach at MSU Northern is any different.
They've prepared and done a nice job through an interesting off season, but our kids have taken it in stride. We have a saying, hang loose and adjust, and that's what we've done during this time. Just hang loose, and see the situation as it is and then adjust accordingly.
More details will likely come next week, but Frontier Conference Commissioner Kent Paulson told MTN Sports that an all-Montana schedule would likely include each school playing each other twice in a home and away format, with someone getting a bye each week.
Scheduling is going to be interesting, and again, those conversations have not taken place yet, but from our standpoint, we've prepared to play for the fall. We're preparing to play for the fall from, our kids are ready. From a coaching standpoint, that's to us has always been the best scenario.
The news is just another COVID-19 disruption to the sports world. But Rowland has been preaching preparedness. To avoid potential travel restrictions, numerous Lights players stayed in Havre over the summer, and Rowland says he plans to have most of the team in town well ahead of August 15th, the start of fall camp.
I think the motivation of getting a chance to compete this fall is the only really motivation you need. And I told them, even if we're playing in spring, if that decision was made, that we were going to be prepared, and they'd be excited to prepare for the spring as well. Just an opportunity to compete. That's why we do it. That's why we love football.
In Great Falls, Isaiah Dunk, MTN News.
We'll be right back with a final look at weather. The U.S.
We're looking at temperatures 93 degrees. We're going to be seeing a beautiful warm day for our friends in Helena, 84 on Thursday. Then on Saturday, 81 degrees. But what about us here in Great Falls? Well, temperatures 95 degrees tomorrow, 86 on Friday, on Sunday, 85. Just stay weather aware as we do have some possible severe thunderstorms on Thursday.
All right, well, the heat is on.
That's all the time we have tonight at 10. Thanks so much for watching.